Good evening, and welcome to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm Nicodemus, and I will be your host as we take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. And it's 10 p.m. on a Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. President Joe Biden took a swipe at wealthy crypto investors on Tuesday as he criticized the Republican Party's proposed budget cuts. He tweeted, quote, "We think Congress should cut tax loopholes that help wealthy crypto investors." He continued, "MAGA Republicans think Congress should cut food safety inspections." Biden's comments come as U.S. government faces a potential debt crisis. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned us last week when she said the U.S. could run out of cash as soon as June 1st. That is, unless Congress does not raise or suspend the debt limit, something that is not certain at this moment. Now, Biden's proposed budget for 2024 suggests changing the tax treatment for wash sales of digital assets. Wash sales are when an investor sells an asset at a loss, then quickly repurchases it to claim a tax deduction. Biden's budget will eliminate this deduction. The budget also floats a 30% tax on the energy used in mining crypto. As most longtime listeners would know, crypto mining is the process of using computers to solve complex mathematical problems to verify transactions on the blockchain. It is a very energy-intensive process, and Biden's tax was designed to discourage it. On Tuesday, Biden met with congressional leaders to discuss the debt limit and possible budget cuts. He said that he's open to cutting wasteful spending, but disagrees with many of the GOP's proposed reductions. Some Republicans have grown closer to the crypto industry over the last few years. The conservative Club for Growth launched 2 crypto-focused super PACs in the previous election cycle. The White House, too, has been active on crypto policy, releasing a series of digital asset reports last year. It's difficult to say what impact Biden's comments would have on the crypto markets. I do know that his proposed tax changes would also increase demand for crypto as investors look for ways to avoid paying taxes. President Biden, you are injecting politics into finance, and that is dangerous. Cryptocurrency regulation cannot lend itself to be used as a political tool. If crypto regulations become a conservative versus liberal issue, both sides lose. Cryptocurrency is a new technology with the potential to revolutionize finance. It's decentralized, borderless, and censorship resistant. It has the potential to empower people around the world and give them more control over their own finances. But if cryptocurrency regulation is politicized, it will stifle innovation and adoption. It will make it harder for people to use cryptocurrency, and it will make it more difficult for businesses to accept it. This will only benefit the status quo, which means it hurts consumers and businesses alike. President Biden, please do not inject politics into finance. Let the experts do their jobs, and let the market decide the future of cryptocurrency for itself. The Bank of England's director of Fintech is Tom Hutton. He recently spoke out on the United Kingdom's plans to institute a central bank digital currency at the Crypto and Digital Assets Summit in London. Hutton said that the digital pound would not be anonymous and that it would not be interoperable with cryptocurrencies. He also noted the digital pound is, quote, likely to be needed if current trends in payments and money continue. So, we've been warned. The UK's crypto stakeholders have primarily welcomed the nation's proposed legislation for the industry. That said, they want the country to collaborate with regulators globally to avoid post-Brexit isolation. The UK has been consulting with the public on its proposed strategy for the crypto sector since February. The consultation period closed on April 30th, with global industry titans submitting their views. Instead of creating new rules for the crypto space like MiCA, the UK wants to bring crypto into the existing regulatory framework, which means the government may publish crypto-specific regulations in the next 12 months. The UK plans to regulate crypto under the Financial Services Market Act, and part of that will be an authorization regime for digital asset companies. It expects to regulate stablecoins under the country's payment rules and to set up a market abuse regime to protect investors. The Financial Services and Markets Bill will give regulators the power to oversee crypto by extending rules for financial instruments. That bill is currently making its way through Parliament. The UK left the European Union in 2020 in the infamous Brexit. Even so, the UK can't go on its crypto regulation journey alone without global collaboration, at least not according to Europe's Association of Financial Markets. When constructing a market abuse regime, the UK needs to ensure what it sets out is A, compatible with other jurisdictions that host global crypto companies, and B, can work with standard setters like the International Organization of Securities Commissions, the Group of Seven, and the Group of 20. Crypto UK also calls for the country to align with global regulators over disclosure requirements for crypto companies. Tordera said, quote, "It would make sense for the regulatory regime to harmonize with global regulators to the extent reasonably possible to allow as seamless cross-jurisdictional operation as possible." The UK's Conservative government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, has said it wants to position the country as a hub for crypto, and it may be pushing to finalize relevant rules ahead of general elections. Those elections are set for 2025, but could occur sooner. Crypto UK expects proposed stablecoin legislation and rules for the broader crypto space to be implemented by the end of 2024. Carpenter said, quote, "We suggest taking a broader view at all of the enablers for the UK to deliver on its ambition to become a global hub for the crypto industry, which includes a proportionate application of FinProm rules to trading venues, addressing concerns of debanking by the crypto industry, and progressive tax policy that addresses the nuances of the asset class." Member of Parliament Lisa Cameron said that she had positive discussions with lawmakers about expanding the UK's crypto tax framework. The UK's plans for a digital pound could significantly impact the crypto markets. If the digital pound is successful, it could displace some of the use of cryptocurrencies. People would see it as a digital currency backed by the government that has the same security level of cash. They'd be wrong, they'd be ill-informed, but that's what many would think. Only time will tell the true impact of the UK's digital pound on the crypto markets. However, it is clear the government is taking the issue seriously and that it's committed to creating a regulatory framework which will allow the crypto industry to thrive. And I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Please like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast. It really helps bring new people to the show, so thank you. A federal judge has sentenced Ishan Wahi for insider trading. The former Coinbase global product manager got himself 24 months in prison. In a May 9th hearing in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York, Judge Loretta Preska sentenced Wahi to 2 years in prison for his role in using confidential information he obtained during his time working at Coinbase to profit off of new listings of tokens, reportedly taking in up to $1.5 million. Now, following his time in prison, he will then be subject to 2 years of supervised release for each count, running concurrently. Preska ordered Wahi to surrender by June 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to serve his sentence at the Fort Dix Federal Correction Institute in New Jersey. She said, quote, "You spoke very nicely. You said all the right things. I hope you can make this up to your parents." Ouch, bringing in the parents. The former Coinbase team member, along with his brother Nikhil Wahi and associate Samir Ramani, allegedly used confidential information he obtained from Coinbase to profit off of new listings of tokens totaling more than $1 million. U.S. authorities arrested Ishan and Nikhil in July of 2022 as they attempted to flee the country to travel to India. Wahi's counsel argued that in considering sentencing, the judge should weigh Ishan's immigration status in the U.S., that this was a non-violent offense, and that he had, quote, "zero criminal history before his arrest." Friends and family members, including Wahi's mother, appeared in court in person for the sentencing. His counsel said, quote, "I submit there is no need for this court to impose additional punishment. He's lost his job. He's lost his reputation. He has suffered an enormous amount of negative publicity both here in the United States and in India." Wahi also directly addressed the judge. He said that he was, quote, "very sorry for his actions. He realizes he made a huge mistake." Prosecutors argue that, unlike his brother Nikhil and Ramani, Ishan was the most guilty of orchestrating the insider trading scheme. He was the ringleader. Quote, "This was not a one-off mistake. This was over a 10-month period. Having access to the kind of information that this defendant had access to was like being able to read the newspaper a day in advance." The brothers pled guilty to criminal insider trading charges. And the judge may have taken Ishan's words to heart, because he reportedly agreed to a sentence of 36 to 47 months in prison, not 24. Nico pled guilty to charges related to wire fraud conspiracy in September of 2022. He got 10 months in the clink, and right now, Ramani remains at large. The U.S. SEC has also targeted Ishan in a parallel case involving potential violations of securities laws. As of April 3rd, the SEC said it reached an agreement in principle with Wahi. And now for our cover story tonight. Last night, we were talking about Coinbase's Brian Armstrong. He sent a letter to the SEC rejecting a proposed rule around RIAs. Now let's talk a bit more about that proposed rule, because honestly, the US SEC went too far when they proposed a new rule demanding investment firms safeguard all their client assets, including crypto, with approved custodians. The securities regulator said the expanded requirement for how registered investment advisors keep customer assets should extend to pretty much everything the firms are in charge of. While the February proposal explicitly folded in cryptocurrency, it also included other assets. This move drew loud objections from organizations that aren't always on the same side as the crypto industry. JP Morgan and the Small Business Administration are among them. The 2-month public comment period expired this week. The Small Business Administration argued the SEC drastically underestimates potential impacts from its proposal. According to a letter from senior SBA lawyers, the cost of the sweeping changes could threaten smaller investment advisors and force them to merge with others or get out of the business entirely. The proposed rules cannot be finalized until after the SEC has reviewed all of those outside comments. The rule says any assets entrusted to investment advisors need to be held with qualified custodians. In this case, that means a chartered bank or trust company, a broker-dealer registered with the SEC, or a futures commission merchant registered with the CFTC. SEC Chair Gary Gensler said the rule, quote, would help ensure that advisors don't inappropriately use, lose, or abuse investors' assets. And he was quick, you could say eager, to point out that the crypto firms that now maintain custody of investors' assets don't usually fit as a qualified custodian. A Wednesday joint hearing between the House Agriculture and Financial Services Committees is the latest sign of growing momentum for digital asset legislation. This hearing will focus on regulatory gaps for cryptocurrencies with an eye toward building around existing rules and ideas rather than starting from scratch. So the UK's approach rather than Europe's approach of standing up a new set of laws. Witnesses include former CFTC Chair Tim Massad, New York Stock Exchange Chief Operating Officer Michael Blaugrund, and Kraken Chief Legal Officer Marco Santori, among others. Industry advocates have become increasingly optimistic that digital asset legislation has a better chance than most other bills to pass Congress and become law, with President Joe Biden's signature this year. I do not share that optimism. I think pretty much anything of value is probably doomed. Several more hearings related to cryptocurrency are expected this summer. Speaker of the House Patrick McHenry said last month the Treasury Department has again engaged with him and his staff on stablecoins after reaching an impasse last year. Senate Banking Committee Chair Sherrod Brown of Ohio chairs the committee that has jurisdiction. It's hard to say if the senator is going to agree to act on a bill if it passes the House. Brown is a noted crypto skeptic who said that he would defer to Chair Gensler's views. Still, he and his staff have engaged more on cryptocurrency policy so far this Congress, in part because of the epic implosion of the industry highlighted by FTX's high-profile collapse. Now, it is way too early to say what impact, if any, that this hearing is going to have on the markets. However, it is possible that the increased regulatory scrutiny could lead to some volatility in the short term. On the other hand, if the hearing leads to the passage of new legislation that provides more clarity for the industry, that clarity could boost investor confidence and increase prices over the long run. Only time will tell how all this is going to play out, but one thing is for sure, the digital asset industry is growing rapidly and regulators are taking notice. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe, leave a rating or a review. And in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night.